Today I'm going to go over some updates in the Chauvin / George Floyd trial. I want to cover three things: the timing of the settlement that the city of Minneapolis paid out and the effect it will have on the case. I also want to talk about the juror pool. They have all 12 jurors now. Also, I want to talk about the likelihood of the venue getting changed, which is the title of the article, and what it means for the case. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Joe the Lawyer. I'm your host, Joe Pometto. I'm a trial attorney in Pittsburgh. Here on this channel, I like to give you objective analysis, the inside scoop in legal analysis by a trial lawyer. Thank you for joining me today. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Also, thank you to everybody for getting me to 1,000 subscribers. It happened with my last video. I'm extremely happy. Thank you for all the love and support. Continue to give me more of that same support. I love it, and I'll keep coming back to give you good legal analysis. Now, before we dive into the content, those of you who know me and know my show know that we begin with the same time sip. Why do we do that? Because when we take a sip together, it tastes better and it sets us up for the show. I like to drink Diet Coke. I know it's not healthy. To most of you, it doesn't taste good, but to me, it tastes great. So raise your cup, your glass in the air. Cheers with me. It tastes better when we sip together. Cheers. Okay, I am ready to go. So I'm not going to run through the article this time, but all the information that I'm going to go over came from this article. And the first thing I want to talk about is the timing of the settlement and the amount. So if you've been watching my channel or you've been following the news, you may have seen that the city of Minneapolis paid out a $27 million settlement to the family of George Floyd. Now, I want to talk strictly about what effect this will have on the trial itself. So, what is one thing this could do? Well, it could lead the jurors to believe that Derek Chauvin is guilty. How would that work? Well, if a juror hears that the city paid out $27 million, they're going to say to themselves, the city wouldn't have paid out a settlement if they didn't think that Chauvin was actually guilty. So the fact of the settlement going public and the amount of money, because the amount of money can go to the degree of guilt, how guilty do they really feel, okay? It could tend to sway or persuade a juror to believe that Derek Chauvin is actually guilty in this case. So this news comes out, this settlement is released during jury selection. Frankly, if it came out at any time in the trial, it would likely have this impact. It's probably better that it came out earlier, and it came out at a point where they will be able to ask the jurors about it. However, they had already seated, I believe, 7 jurors before this news came out, though I do think they went back and asked those jurors if they had heard the news and if it had any impact, and I don't believe any of those jurors were changed. So I do think it's going to affect this trial. Like I said, it could make a juror more likely to believe that Derek Chauvin is guilty. Now, what happened here behind the scenes? This is strictly speculation, okay? But you come to me for the inside scoop. I'm an attorney. Behind closed doors, attorneys have to talk about strategy, right? Here, there's a whole lot of different parties and interests with attorneys, right? George Floyd's family has attorneys. They have interests. The city of Minneapolis has attorneys. They have interests. The Attorney General's office, Keith Ellison is the Attorney General. His office has interests. The judge has interests. He needs to protect the defense in Derek Chauvin, okay? So this is purely speculation, but I'm here to give you opinions, okay? You can do what you want with it. Number one, it's possible that George Floyd's representatives, his attorneys, wanted this settlement to be done before the verdict in the trial, because they may have wanted it to have the impact that I just talked about. So that could have been a point of negotiation between George Floyd's representatives and the city. Say, hey, we want this released prior to the trial because we think it may increase the odds that Derek Chauvin is convicted. Now, I don't know if that happened or not. This is pure speculation. But these are the things that shake around in my head, because when I'm thinking about strategy from a legal perspective, okay, I got to think about everything. I got to take the whole picture in. So I'm giving you the whole picture. This city itself, the city of Minneapolis itself, may have thought the same way. They may have said, well, if we pay this settlement, it will be more likely that Chauvin gets convicted, and that may be something that they want to see. I don't know, okay, but it may be. They may feel, the representatives of the city, that Derek Chauvin is guilty, therefore they want to increase the chances that he would be found guilty. Another thing, another interest here, this city and George Floyd's family may have just wanted to get this thing over with, right? They may have just wanted to get this thing over with as soon as possible. So that could have been a primary interest in this case, okay, as far as the city settling and the timing of the settlement itself. All right, my internet's getting a little screwy here, messing around with the article. What are you doing? What are you doing? We need this beautiful image to supplement my new layout on the Joe the Lawyer show, right? We need it to be nice and square. I'm not going to read through the article today. You guys can read through the article, but this is where I got all that information from. So that's how I think that's some of the behind the scenes thoughts that may have happened in regards to the settlement and the timing of the settlement. And I also believe that's the impact that it could have on this case. Now, let's talk about some updates on the juror pool. So the entire jury has been selected. What I read was 3 jurors were seated Thursday. They have a total of 12. They may pick some backups, okay? Half are people of color. A multi-race woman in her 20s, multi-race woman in her 40s, 2 black men in their 30s, a black man in his 40s, a black woman in her 60s, 3 white women in their 50s, a white woman in her 40s, a white man in his 30s, and a white man in his 20s. Remember what I told you in my last video about white women in their 50s being the most represented in the group? Bang, I nailed it right on the spot here. 3 white women in their 50s, that's the largest representation for a single group. That's the average juror in America. So 3 of them here. I also said in the last video that I believe 5 or 6 would be of minority or people of color, and that's how the jury played out, right? We have 6 white and 6 non-white jurors. I predicted that would happen, and that's a good result for the prosecution, okay? They want people who are going to identify with George Floyd. The defense wants people who are going to identify with Derek Chauvin, so they want white jurors. The prosecution wants non-white jurors. This is more 50%. This is more people of color than on the average jury in the United States, because the average jury, is going to reflect the average racial makeup of the country, which is majority white. And so if you get into the smaller counties, the more rural areas, you're obviously going to see juries with more white people on it. So that's my comments on the jury. I think that's a fair jury pool. I think this is a good jury pool, frankly, for both sides. And it's going to make it harder for either side to appeal on the grounds that the jury was biased or not diverse enough, etc., etc. So this is a good result, I think, for justice's sake, because you have a diverse jury pool that will hopefully view this case in a non-biased and objective manner. Now, this piggybacks right into my next issue, which is the likelihood that the venue gets changed or the trial be relocated or postponed. That's the title of this article here. I put it this way. This is the way I want to point. Not this way, this way. I'm still getting used to talking on this layout. It's a little weird. Okay, I think there's no chance the venue gets changed. Number one, they're live streaming this, which I think is a bad idea. I think this is a bad idea. It could turn it into a media circus instead of just a jury trial. But they made the choice. They wanted that level of disclosure, okay, to say, because the court wants to say, hey, we did everything by the book. We did everything we could to make it fair. And look, you can see, here it is. It's on trial. Plus, it's an important trial for the country, but I do think it can cause some issues. It can tend to publicize it more, and it can affect the people within the trial itself and how they act and what they say or do, because they know they're being viewed by millions and millions and millions of people. Anyway, the fact that it's being recorded makes it less likely that it's going to be postponed or that it's going to be relocated, okay? The court wants the gears of justice to move quickly and efficiently. So they're not going to, especially because everybody's been viewing this, I don't think they're going to postpone it, all right, and make it look like the courts move slowly, the courts don't know what they're doing, or the courts didn't get it right the first time. So I think it's very, very unlikely to be postponed, except for a very compelling reason, or to be relocated. And the fact that it's being streamed to the entire world makes it even less likely it be relocated or postponed. Also, they already picked the entire jury here in this county. So what if the defense is asking to postpone it? What they're going to say, we need to go somewhere else and pick an entirely new jury? Again, efficiency, the wheels of justice, the court's not going to go for that. Plus, they got a diverse jury pool. The judge is probably pretty happy with this 6-6 makeup, to be perfectly honest. And I'm not saying, look, the 6-6 isn't perfect, but in America, in the United States, with the racial makeup of the country, 6-6 is pretty good like this. So, you know, and finally, this thing that everybody recognizes and that I've said before is everybody already knows about George Floyd, right? We had protests and riots over this country for months after George Floyd's death. Everybody knows the jury pool of the entire world is tainted in that sense. So the best you can do is try to select from these people the ones who can set their biases aside, and that's what the process of voir dire is. And can look at the case on its facts, okay? You're not going to get somebody who hasn't heard about this. It's not going to happen. I don't know. You'd have to go to a third world country or go to a jungle somewhere to find somebody who could sit on this jury pool without knowing what happened. Those people would probably know anyway. So it's not going to be moved. I doubt it's going to get postponed much. This thing is going to go forward, you know, in a pretty swift manner. So those are my updates on the Derek Chauvin trial. I will come to you once a week, once every 2 weeks with updates on this trial to give you the inside scoop, to try to give it to you in an objective manner and to give you legal analysis from a lawyer. Again, I'm thankful for everybody who subscribed. What I would say is go ahead, continue to subscribe, comment, like, and share. Also, sign up for my email list, which you can find not on the screen, but in the YouTube description. Sign up for my email list to get the latest updates on the show. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day. Peace out from Joe the Lawyer.